it looks as though we are live. That's what it says anyway. So, with that being said, hello. It is March 4th, 2022, and this is the beginning of our March Madness here on the Groove Zone Network. I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. MC Healer should be here joining me shortly, and but we're going to go ahead and get the show going because time is precious. Speaking of time, these guys are timeless. Actually, they have been around, been touring now solidly for 40 years. One of the iconic 80s groups. You'll probably be familiar with Iran. Who isn't? Maybe a couple of hermits or aborigines somewhere way in the outback, but I'll bet they've heard it too. Anyway, Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls is with us today, and totally excited about this. So join DJ Duckie, Brad B of C Average, and myself, along with MC Healer, for an incredible show. All right, ready? Here we go. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Can you have that please?
You don't stop to look around once in a while. You could miss it.
Could be that with you. If I had a photograph of you, or something to remind me, I wouldn't spend my life just wishing.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I can't tell you how well I'm doing. This is an incredible moment for me. I got to say, first of all, thank you so much. So,
Oh, thank you.
you're a hard man to track down, Mister. You're all over the place. Can you hear me?
Yeah, especially for some reason the last like 3 or 4 years. It's
Okay.
like, you know, and then after the pandemic, it was just crazy because everybody that had shows booked suddenly went, oh, we want to rebook them. So we ended up like, you know, concentrating everything into last year basically. And it just got
Right.
super crazy.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this, you know, and I almost was at the point where I was going to say, well, you know, he's just got too much going on and I'll reapproach it someday. And I thought, no, because he told me that he would. So I had to pursue it. You know,
You just got to keep going at it.
that's right. Because hey, and you're a good one to say that. As right before you popped on, I'm sitting here thinking, a flock, you have been in my life for so long and been such a vital part of it. And so now the funny thing is, so too, and before I lose track of what I'm doing, we've spoken before.
Uh-huh.
At the Evergreen Ballroom in Olympia, Washington.
Okay.
95. Our friends were the opening act, and we were backstage after the show, and you and I spoke for just a minute.
Okay.
And so, hey, it's like we're old friends.
No, is it just that we're old?
Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. Even the 90s, though, doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
No.
You know?
I feel like almost like we just started touring, you know, and it's now what, 40 years and stuff like that. So.
Oh my gosh. You know, and kudos and congratulations for that, because you know there were so many people that didn't think that the new wave sound or that you know alternative sound would ever last. You know, I think they thought it was a flash in the pan. Go figure, 40 years down the road and you're still touring.
Yeah, and I think they thought the Beatles were a flash in the pan too. Right?
Yeah, no doubt. And if that's the case, then you're in good company.
Right.
Hey, Mike, can we more than just I don't know, a couple of years, maybe at that, after you guys were there, and it came down. Actually, it came down in 2000. I take that back. And I think it was but the building came down. They never really figured out who did it. Who? And anyway, so the next day I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? You know, we all were basically without a job. And so coming up out of the ashes of the ballroom became Phoenix.
Right.
Okay. But I didn't become Duckie. Mike, I'd like to take a quick moment and introduce you to one of our DJs. This is DJ Duckie. His name is also Jeffrey, but we call him Duckie. Duckie, can I introduce you to Mr. Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls?
Oh, by all means, I would be delighted if you would introduce me and honored.
Okay,
Hey,
well,
Duckie,
just you know, there you go.
It's an honor to meet you, sir. I think I've seen you only twice in concert, but I have seen you. I think the first time was in Portland in 1996. Maybe, does that sound about right?
My memory stops at about 90.
Oh, you kidding?
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah,
Can't even imagine.
Everything before that never happened.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. I'm pretty sure it was 96, somewhere around there, 95, 96.
Okay.
But yeah.
We used to get up to Portland quite a lot, but these days it's you know, it kind of goes in phases like that. You end up, you know, Northwest, and then the next time it's like, oh, now we're in Texas for the next couple of years, or LA, or over near New York. So it kind of waves in and out of phases. Yeah.
Well,
but
and
Portland,
the venues,
we always had fun.
The venues that you guys have played range from like arenas to like small, more intimate venues.
Yeah, you know, the main thing is you're playing. Really, when I'm on stage, I'm playing for myself. You know, and
Oh.
if it's a small venue, I put just as much into it as I would if it was an arena.
Exactly.
I'd get paid more, but probably actually get paid more if the small venue.
Right.
But yeah, you know, and to play all the time, you know, you kind of go, well, if I just play big places or say places over 5,000 or something, I'm going to be playing 5-6 times a year. So
Yeah.
if we play small venues, we're playing 50 times a year, you know, and that's the fun of it, is playing half the time, you know. Not writing the songs is great, but if you can't get out there and play them to people,
Then
you know,
exactly.
what's the use of being in a band? You might as well be on your own.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I know, actually, a moment ago you had mentioned something about, you know, the pandemic, we were getting that direction. I know it affected everybody in the music industry. Now, I also see, though, that A Flock of Seagulls is already touring again. So you're already out on the road, yeah?
Yeah, you know, as soon as the pandemic started to wane a little bit, you know, we got some offers, and it was a case of, well, we can take these, or we can wait for the big rush at the end when everyone can go out. So we had a little chat as the band, and we said, no, let's go out and do these, as long as we're, you know, pretty careful about, like, we weren't going out and doing meet and greets and stuff like that. We stayed backstage. As long as we, you know, keep away from people, but close enough, if you know what I mean. And we, you know, and it was also not just a relief for us to play, but a relief for people that liked us to come out and say, you know, even in the middle of this, you're still musicians, kind of thing. So, you know, so we did it gladly. Yeah, we were early restarters on the pandemic.
That's, somebody had to jumpstart it, though. Okay, the last person to join us, Mike, is my friend Brad. Brad was in one of the local bands here called Sea Average. He's also an amazing printer. If you have any printing jobs ever you need it done while you're in the area, contact Brad. Anyway, Brad, this is Mike's score.
Hey, Brad.
Yeah, Mike. So nice to meet you. Thanks for letting me ask a question.
You're welcome. You're a little bit.
Hopefully,
you're cutting in and out a little bit, my friend.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, well.
Now I can hear you. Anyway, guys, so this is the group. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Let me do a quick lead in real quick. I know, Mike, we've only got you for just a little bit. Yes, we only have him here for just a little bit, and that's why I want to take a quick moment and introduce MC Healer. Can you hear me?
Huh?
Hey.
Howdy.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. Well, we're part of the show, my friend.
Awesome. Well,
And,
hi, Mike Score.
Yes, hello, Mike Score from Jesse. He might say hi back. You never know. That'd be kind of trippy, but you never know. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how's your day?
Pretty awesome. It was pretty good. I went out to go help my aunt out in the boonies, so I'm helping her remodel her house and stuff. So
you're a good nephew. Day. Nice. Well, you know, one of the main reasons why I wanted you to be here with me is because I still think back to a conversation we had here several months ago when I first told you that I was looking to possibly get Mike Score on the show. You remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes, I do.
It's
And
been a little while.
yeah, it's awesome that it's finally going through and seems like it's going well.
Who would have ever thought that he would have said yes?
Yeah.
And then who would have ever thought that I'd actually get to a point where you'd be available and able to sit in on the show with us?
Yeah, it's awesome. Win-win situation all around.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, if we only had that much foresight into other things in our lives,
Oh,
we'd
yeah.
be doing good. All right. Well, you got your popcorn?
Positive affirmations.
No doubt, no doubt. Do you have your popcorn and your soda pop?
Yeah, I got my soda pop. I got my little Red Bull.
Okay,
peach
good.
Red Bull.
As long as you got your munchies, I think we're good for the show. Yeah.
Yeah. All
right,
for it.
buddy. All right, here we go. So, without further ado, this is the interview with Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls. Rock and roll. And if we can rock, we can roll. There we go. So, hey guys, you're watching Groove Zone Network. This is DJ D Phoenix, and with me today I've got DJ Duckie out of Seattle, and I've also got Brad of C Average, out of Olympia, Washington. Brad.
Wow, it's quite a spread, really.
There we go. But we were actually hanging today with Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls, and totally stoked about that. Mike, so what's the latest on the music? Have you put something out recently?
Well, the last thing that was put out was something that I did in the pandemic with August Day Records, which was basically volume 2 of the orchestrated greatest hits, which, you know, the first one was great, but the second one we had more of an idea now how it would sound, and to me the second one, you know, really picks it up. The single that went out was Say You Love Me, which, you know, I've written a lot of songs, and Say You Love Me, I haven't even heard it for 20 years. And then they came along and said, look, we want to put this out as a single, do orchestral. And I listened to it and I was like, this song we should be doing all the time in the set, you know? So we introduced it to the set as well. So yeah, Ascension was the first, and now my brain's gone and I can't think of the name of this. But anyway, yeah, the second came out. And of course, like every other musician in the pandemic, I've just, you know, sat and written some songs and stuff. But because everyone's putting those out now, I'm just holding back. And I'm just going to, when it feels right, you know, they'll put it out, because I'm not going to go up against Rihanna and Coldplay and all those, you know what I mean?
You could, but no.
Let all that just fade away. All that rubbish just fade away, and then I'll put out my brilliant songs. You know?
There you go. There you go. But like we were talking about before the guys joined us, look, the longevity of your career is amazing. You know.
Yeah,
definitely. Hey, I could talk all day, but I know that both Brad and Duckie have got questions that they would like to ask. So if we could, Brad, can I get a question from you for Mike?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Thanks a lot for letting me ask a question, Darren and Mike. I was just kind of curious what your favorite show was of all times.
Oh,
well, that's a hard one because I've done a lot of shows. Obviously, right up there is playing the Hollywood Bowl and going and standing in all the places the Beatles stood. You know? And like I was standing there going, this is where Paul McCartney was, and this is where John Lennon was, and George, and then back to the back where Ringo, because I'm from Liverpool. And
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
To go be where they were was amazing. Just every time I moved to where they would have been, it was like, oh God, this is where John Lennon stood, and then it was,
That's pretty amazing stuff, though.
So that was great. And then playing Madison Square Garden which I've played there three times now.
Wow.
But the first time there was just, you look at the place and you go, this cannot be me standing here.
Right, right.
Madison Square Garden, where everybody who's ever been anything has played,
Were you just a little nervous?
Well, we got over our nerves that day by our manager saying, if you guys don't make a mistake, you get an extra $100 each tonight.
Extra $100.
Oh
my
days,
God.
That was a lot of money, So they're right up there. They're right up there. But some of the favorite gigs were like when you first start out and it's like your third gig, and the first one was a nervous wreck. The second one you was like you overdid it, and then the third one you kind of got it right, and then you go, I remember that gig at that pub, at the
yep,
and it would just felt right. Now we're a band, that was also a favorite. So but when you get paid, they're all your favorites.
Especially when there's an extra $100.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
Getting paid
wow.
is nice. Getting paid is nice. Making a living doing what you love. That's a rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Duckie, do you have a question or two for Mike?
Yeah, so which band or bands would you say are your major musical inspirations? I mean, you mentioned the Beatles. Is the Beatles one of your major inspiration? Or if not, who might be?
Oh yeah, the Beatles. Well, being from Liverpool, growing up there, the Beatles were
Probably.
almost.
No.
Beatles,
Yeah.
but the Rolling Stones as well, because when you were a kid, it was the Beatles or the Stones in England. Which one did you love?
Right.
Yeah, both of them. But then, it went on to be bands like Yes that I loved, and Ultravox, Kraftwerk, and stuff like that.
Kraftwerk.
I mean, as times change and new bands come out, you kind of shift towards that way. Sadly, though, a lot of the bands that have been out in the last, I would say, 5 years, they do absolutely nothing for me. Stuff like the Killers and all that, which everyone raves about. I must be old because I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
I haven't even heard of them, so.
Well, Killers actually were one of the bands that kind of brought like this second or third new wave back here within the last gen. And like Mike said, they're kind of getting lost in the shuffle. Nobody's really standing out anymore.
Or are they a retro wave band, the Killers? They sound like they're from the 80s, but retro wave.
A little, and they definitely have nods to that.
I like some of
Yeah.
those bands that I've heard. You know, it's cool that that sound is coming back. You know, a little bit. I mean, it's not the
Yeah,
same,
it's-
but it's you know, it's not. I like it though, but I'm
It
not
just-
familiar with a lot of them.
It doesn't seem to hit me like, say, when I first heard, let's see, Ultravox, you know,
Yeah.
you heard that and you went, oh, I got to hear some more of what they're doing, you know. But then you hear some bands these days and you kind of go, well, that's all right. But it doesn't seem to take your mind anywhere. It doesn't
It's not the
seem
same.
to, it doesn't make you go, oh, I want to go in that direction, you know.
Right.
One midge
So-
work though. Only one midge.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
And for that matter, Billy Curry though too. In
Yeah.
fact, Mike, Billy was on the show with me about a year or so ago. Awesome guy. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Yeah.
I think you know, once you've had a bit of experience of the music business, if you've got the guts, you can produce your best stuff. You know, I think it, like, even bringing us into this, when you first start out, if you have a hit, you're pretty lucky. You know, maybe if bands like it used to be in the 60s, if you had to go 4 or 5 years with nothing, then you had a hit, then you could consider yourself a real band, you know. But these days, it's like they arrive on Tuesday, have a hit on Wednesday, and by Thursday they're gone. You know, that's the way it seems.
It's true. It's
Unless
totally true. Yeah.
unless they've signed for Disney or something, you know. then-
Bands that find a weekend. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's a pact with the devil, though, that you don't want to have to make, though. That little mouse thing with the big ears. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, nobody wants to sign their life away. Just ask some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Brad, I want to make sure that I get a couple of questions from both you guys in. So is there one more that you want to bounce off? Questions from both you guys in. So is there one more that you want to bounce off?
Yes.
I know there is. There's got to be.
Oh, it's kind of a silly. No, I don't really.
Silly
No.
questions are the best. Dude. Better not be about your hair.
Yeah.
I know about your.
Okay.
So that was my first thought, was to ask about the hair, but I'm sure you're tired of answering that question.
It's actually better to have no hair, because nobody asks questions about it.
I'll bet. But there's something to be said, though, for
I
that.
kind of wanted to know about what.
Go ahead.
I'm a big Police fan, and I was kind of wanting to know if you got any like Sting stories or anything, or Stuart Copeland stories.
Oh, the Police. Oh, I see.
Way back when we started touring with the Police, we got to the first gig with them, which I think it was like Austin, Texas or something. So our bus arrived and it was like 5 and 6 in the morning. And we were going to get off, go to our dressing room and get showers and stuff. And my manager went, no, you stay on the bus, you know. And we're like, but Mick, you know, and he goes, no. So we all kind of fall back asleep and stuff like that. And then there's all this noise outside. And we're all jumping up, looking out the windows. And there was Stuart Copeland coming down the ramp on a skateboard, and he'd run straight into the back of Sting just to annoy him. So we had to then wait even longer for them to kind of clear that out of the way before we were then escorted to our dressing room. So because they didn't really want people to see anything bad, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a pretty, pretty crazy introduction to meeting the police, you know. I've got a few other stories, but they're longer. That was just a quickie.
Hey,
They'll in the book. They'll be in the book.
You share as much as you want to with us, because like I said, we're working around your schedule today. So
okay.
Good question though, because I didn't even know. I couldn't remember that association between A Flock and the Police. So that's cool.
Yeah, we did a long tour with them, and they were absolutely brilliant on their shows, and they were brilliant with us. You know, they treated us just like like my brother, who was the drummer. He used to play ping pong all the time with Stuart Copeland.
Hollywood.
And then Ali, and then Andy Summers would come to our dressing room and hang out. He'd just knock on the door and he'd say, "Hey guys, can I come hang out with you guys?" You know, I'm kind of bored with them now after 20 years or whatever it was. So he'd come over and sit with us and go to dinner with us and stuff like that.
Well, that's great.
So did you do a whole tour with them?
Pardon?
Did you do a whole tour with them, or a good amount of shows with them, or?
We did about 4 or 5 months with them, and then this was the Synchronicity tour, and then
Big one. Wow.
their tour got extended. Their tour got extended down into South America and all that, and we had to go make a new album. So the Fix took over, and that's that then helped the Fix become a big band as well. Because there were certain things happen when you played with the Police that you were playing 50, maybe 60, 70, 80, 100,000 people a night. And that would mean that the next day you sold 50, 60, 70,000 albums,
That's great.
And that's what it was like in those days. I think we played somewhere around LA once, and my manager came in and said, remember that we did like a Saturday, but on the Monday we sold, I don't know, I think it was like 70,000 albums. And, I can't remember. I think it was Arista Records. Then sent him a text, or what do they call them in those days?
Oh yeah, what would that be? A voice?
A wire.
Wire.
Yo, what's going down? This is your boy Dub FX. I am doing a show called Hook, Line, and Thinker with DJ D Phoenix on Neo Retro FM. So tune into that.
Just like that. All right. So that is the what am I trying to do here? Because they yeah. Hi. That was the first part of the interview with Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls. So what we're going to want you to do now, we're going to take a super quick break. Stay right here on the page, and here in just a minute, just refresh, and you'll get caught up with the second part of our broadcast. So MC Healer is hanging out with me today. He doesn't want you to hear him, though. He does not want you to.
There we
go. There you go. So what are you thinking so far?
I'm thinking it's a blast. He great personality. He definitely deserves all the years that he's had doing what his passion is, and it's cool to hear all of what he's saying,
And that's just it, because it's really cool whether you're interested or familiar with a particular genre or not, just to hear the stories from his point of view.
Oh yeah.
because we're here, we're hearing behind the scenes stuff that nobody's ever heard before.
Oh yeah,
So
that was a good question. That was a good question that Brad had too. So
So let me ask Jess, if we were in studio with Mike right now, what question would you ask him?
yeah, I was trying to think of that, and I was trying to think of like how how he transcended into like before and after his hit. I wanted to see like how it was kind of like before, and then at what moment did he realize, oh, this is happening? I get to do what I love to do.
Right. I can't even imagine,
Yeah.
to live that kind of a life and basically be able to go do what you want to and something that you love that the rest of the world loves.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be an amazing feeling. Anyway, we'll be right back. So, like I said, don't go anywhere. Just refresh your page here in just a second. MC Healer and I will be right back after this. So don't go anywhere. We got more cool stuff coming up. Rock and roll, kiddios. All
Yep.
right. So, Healer, hang tight, buddy, and we will be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll talk to you here in just a sec. Where we go.
All right.
Uno, dos, tres.
Oh, my pooper. Oh, my pooper. Oh, my pooper. Oh, that's a good pooper. Oh, that's a good pooper. Oh, it's a good pooper. Oh, it's a good.
All right. So far, we've gotten a chance to hang out and talk with Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls for a little bit. Want to say thank you again to Mike for putting some time aside for us. So today's the first day of March Madness. Tomorrow, March 5th, I've got James Spectrum of Pepe Deluxe in with us, and it's his second visit to the program. Totally stoked about that. Next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, applesauce, we'll have in on Friday, When in Rome, Clive Farrington and Andrew Mann. They'll be back for their second show with us as well. And then next Saturday, the 12th, Nick Hayward of Haircut 100 and his own illustrious career is in with us that day. So 2 full weeks of really cool March Madness stuff. Tonight, after the program, tune back over to the Neo Retro FM station at darfox07wixsite.com/Neo Retro FM. And there you will find a trauma-informed way happening at 7 p.m., followed immediately by the sessions for tonight, which is actually the 7 o'clock show, now moving to 7:15 to accommodate a trauma-informed way. So, MC Healer's in the house.
Woo!
Ow! Rock and roll, kiddios.
Rock and roll.
That's right. Bad Mama Jamma. So, plenty of really cool stuff throughout the remainder of March Madness. Like I said, Pepe Deluxe is tomorrow. Next week, When in Rome on Friday, and Nick Hayward on Saturday. Also, on March 31st, leading into April 6th, it's Danceteria. It's going to be a 24/7 full week of dance music leading up to the project's end. And we've got some cool surprises in store for you guys. So stay tuned and put on your boogie shoes. All right. I think MC Healer is telling me that it's time to do the show.
Giddy up. Run it.
Giddy up. Here we go, cowboy.
I can't remember. I think it was Arista Records. Then
Right.
sent him a text, or what do they call them in those days?
Yeah, what would that be? A voice
Wire.
mail?
A wire.
Oh, yeah.
Wire,
Right,
or
right.
or something. Yeah, a hologram. Yeah, telegram.
A hologram.
They said that because
Western
of
Union.
that, they were going to, spend this much more promoting the band. So,
Wow.
so that
Nice.
for us was a great step up,
And that was at the beginning of, now, was that before or after you started working on the second album then? Was that the second? Or was that still the debut?
We're
I can't
supporting
remember.
the.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm still supporting the first album, I think. I
Okay.
can't remember. You know what? It's a long time ago now, and I don't
I know,
think of it too often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, Brad actually was at the same show that I was out at the Evergreen Ballroom when you guys played.
Right.
And I didn't realize that until you mentioned that last night. So, yeah, pretty amazing. Mike, I've got.
That was so cool. Thanks for playing that show. I enjoyed it so much.
We'll do it again if they ever rebuild it, right?
Yeah, I know. Huh? It's kind of sad. Just you wouldn't even know it was ever there.
No,
And actually, the memorabilia that was lost in that fire, I'm sure probably was in the millions.
Yeah, maybe.
Mike, there again, thank you for putting some time aside. I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask you, and then we're going to kind of start to get close to wrapping this up.
Site
Okay.
and order it from there. I think they even have some, if you come to shows, people come to shows, they can actually buy it at the shows because, that's a merchandising thing and that's left to the merchandisers. I just get reports them. So
Right.
there's all kinds of ways of getting it, but I think the quickest way is probably just to type in. It's called string theory.
String theory. Okay.
So just type in string theory of Flock of Seagulls, and it'll take you right there.
I'm doing it today. I'm going to check that out. Awesome. Too cool. Let's see. Guys, anything that you can think of as a last question for him, or any comments or anything?
Yeah, I got a question, Darren.
Yes, sir.
Mike, so the music business itself seems to have changed recently with, you know, the lack of like actual record sales. What do you think about the direction it's headed in? Do you think you make most of your money off of live performances now, or?
Yeah, I definitely make a living from live performances.
Okay.
You know, I still get royalties, and that's great. I think that, you know, all changes are so that somebody that's not a musician can make more money out of musicians than they do. And that seems to have always been the way, you know. If you're in the scale of here's the money for the thing, you know, then it goes to this guy and this guy and this guy, and the musician is the last one that ever gets paid.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to be a musician, you've really got to love it, basically, because the chances of you getting paid what you're worth are pretty slim unless you're signed to the big eared guy, you know, who then probably takes 90%, but your 10% is a nice big figure, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it is a tough world. People think you just arrive on stage like, you know, like you're beamed on stage. They don't realize that 99% of being a musician is getting to where you're going. If it's a show, you know, you may have to fly in overnight, drive in overnight, and yet you've still got to perform.
Yeah.
Regardless.
It's a tough life, but when you get it right, it's totally worth it, you know.
Oh, no doubt. And yeah, and that's just it. You were able to make a full-on career out of that.
Yeah, and never expected to. I thought, wow, you know, we had a single that was a bit of a hit, another single that was a bit of a hit, and then we had Iran, you know, which was a monster hit.
Monster.
And that,
You think? Yeah.
and that took us into a full career, because before that we're like, cool, we're going to America, 2 weeks in America. We ended up staying 8 months because of Iran. And non-stop touring, you know. And then of course
Right.
you get a bit of a reputation with clubs and stuff. They start to call you back, so the touring thing starts to become I don't know what the word is, but, you know, self-replenishing kind of thing.
Right.
And of course, even if you play big places, those people tend to book other places as well. So they might go, okay, well, you can't sell out Madison Square Garden, but you can sell out the club I've got 2 blocks away.
Right,
you know?
right.
So
right.
so you make friends and you make deals and you keep going.
Oh, no doubt. Just out of curiosity, who was it that you played Madison Square Garden with?
Last time we did it was with Foreigner.
I've heard of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
With Foreigner, that's an odd pairing, though. I would think.
A little bit.
I mean, 80s, you know, 80s, popular 80s bands, but little different style there.
It was a kind of 80s event. Foreigner headlined it. We were on it. I can't remember.
Oh, gotcha.
Who else was on it? There was like 6. You know.
I think you guys should headline it personally. That's what I.
Well, Yeah,
Flock of
thanks for that.
Seagulls,
But
number one, yeah.
before that, we played it with we're one of the only bands ever that's played Madison Square Garden twice on the same tour. You know, so
Really?
that was we played it right at the beginning of one tour, and then they added it on again at the end.
Wow.
But that may have been the Go-Go's tour, but I think we finished it at the end of that tour with the Fix.
Okay.
So
Wow. How totally cool. Totally amazing. Mike, I know I've got 100 more questions for you. There's no doubt. So with that being said, I just want to let you know, when time permits, when your schedule allows, you ever want to come back for a second visit, just let me know, because I would love to have you back on with us.
okay, maybe
So
when we
yeah.
get a release, of something.
You bet. You bet. I'll make sure that we're in contact.
Okay.
One of the last things that I want to do, a word to the world. We've got people listening and watching today. So what would your message be to anybody that is checking this out?
I would say for A Flock of Seagulls, come and see us live, you know.
Yes.
Check out the String Theory album and the Ascension album. Look back into our history. It's, you know, when we first started out, people thought it was all about haircuts and fashion, you know.
Yeah.
And it's only now that you can look at it 40 years later and go, well, the content was pretty good as well, you know.
Solid. Yeah.
And now, because it's still standing up, people may, you know, it might be good to have a look back and then go, you know, when I was a kid, I dismissed this, but now I realize it's good stuff, you know.
Oh, no doubt. And whether it's the first album or the second album, or, you know, or any of the ones beyond that, those first two especially, though, I mean, there were such solid pieces as far as your compositions went, that like Telecommunication, Modern Love is Automatic, still resonate as strongly today as they did back when I first heard them in 1983.
Yeah, I mean, even to me, they sound great, and I've heard them 100 times more than you.
Probably have. Yeah. Well, I know that Iran is one of the most overplayed 80s songs ever. You hear it everywhere, but I still never get sick of it, and it's still my favorite one of your catalog. I mean, I know it's, you know, it's
that's because it's actually underplayed.
It can never be played enough, I guess. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I mean, overplayed, but I never get sick of Iran. It's a brilliant song. It always gives me chills, no matter how many times I hear it. My favorite version is the extended. I think it's 5+ minutes. You know, the really long intro and everything. I don't like listening to the short version. Just, you know, it's just
like one of my favorites of ours is Wishing, simply because it can go up to 9 minutes long. You know, so
really, okay,
yeah. Wishing was an instrumental. I wrote it as an instrumental, and then to get it on the album, I had to put lyrics on it, and I had to do like little deals with the record company that I wrote it. I think it was 13 minutes long, and then they said, "Well, we want it to be cut down maybe to 6 minutes," and then it was like, "Well, no, what about 9? Well, if you put some lyrics on it," and they finally got, I think, to about 5.5 as a single. You know,
right.
Wow.
But then I think on the album it's like 7.5. Because they do things like edit it while you're not there. you know, in those days, we did things and we were gone. You know, it's like you're coming in to do a video. They filmed us. The director guy would go, "Okay, we've got enough," and then we'd be like, "Okay, we're off." You know, we're off down to, we're off back to America, or we're over to London or to France or something like that. And then a couple of days later, they go, "Here's your video." You know, and of course, we didn't really look at who edited it and you know, did all the technical stuff. It was too busy. We were so busy.
No doubt. And I would imagine too, with MTV being at their peak at that point in time, with the mentality and the rush factor of where pop music was at that point in time, I can imagine. No wonder you don't remember most of it. Just that constant paparazzi in one event after another has to get.
Yeah, I remember we'd get to gigs and there'd be MTV there, and the only question they had was, "Are you going to do your hair tonight?"
Oh, wow.
Not what songs are you going to do, or
aren't you
what's
glad
your set list.
No doubt. And actually, there again, you know, go figure. 40 years down the road, the hair may not be there any longer, but the songs remain the same. And awesome.
And the show must go on and all that.
Yeah, no doubt. Brad, Duckie, thank you so much for being here with me today. Totally appreciate it.
Thank you for including me. It was an honor to meet you, Mr. Score.
You too, Duckie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure as well, and really great to meet you. And thanks for letting me ask some questions.
As long as it wasn't about the hair, that was the one. I could see that coming.
Yeah, I figured you have sensitivities.
I think he was real close to asking you something about the hair, though. So good.
I think your hair is pretty cool in the Iran video, actually, because it's not the famous do, it's a different, but I think that's a good do on you, the Iran do.
I like messing with hair when I had it, you know.
Yep.
So just out of curiosity, Mike, did you go bald, or did you just decide to start shaving it and it's just stayed that way? Or
I woke up one morning and it was all over the place. So I was gonna be off for about 3 months.
Okay.
So I just shaved it, and I just went. I kind of went like this and said, "I think it'll look okay," you know.
Oh yeah.
So I shaved it, and then I'm like, if I don't like it, I got 3 months to at least get some hair back.
Right.
So, but ever since that day, I've shaved it every day.
Nice. So, less maintenance, that's for sure.
Well, actually, it's more maintenance.
Is it?
Yeah, because the other one just used to stay like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta get back over the stuff. Just bend it back, you know.
Yeah, it was like.
I still do that with mine. Yeah, it's all kinds of fun stuff.
This one, you know, you have to get your buzzer shaver on every 2 or 3 days and spend half an hour on it.
I'll tell you though, after you guys hit the scene, I don't know how many nights and days I spent going before we'd go out and go clubbing with that hair dryer, getting mine to do the same thing as yours.
Yeah, I used that Darren is in no position to mock anyone's hair.
No, nor did I say that I was funny, man.
So I love it now, looking back at that. You know, I was like, what a crazy little space kid you were, but you know,
cool, super cool.
inside I'm still like that, but I have more experience now.
Exactly.
That's,
Do you, just out of curiosity, do you still see the world through the eyes of a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old?
I would say a 17-year-old. I don't feel any different to what I did when I was 17, 18.
Isn't that something? I mean, just, yeah, and it's because it's something you never really lose.
Mm. Yeah, I know you look at your body and you go, what the hell is this?
Oh, no doubt.
What happened to it?
No doubt. But through here, though, yeah, you're still seeing the world through those eyes of a young man or young woman. Yeah.
As long as you stay young at heart.
Mine
Yeah,
that's like the night I do Zoom on.
Yeah, it went through so much battery and so much time there.
Well,
there you go.
it looks like Brad's out.
Oh,
Brad's out, yeah.
Thank you so much. I so
All right,
totally
cool.
appreciate this. And whatever the rest of the day holds for you, I hope you have yourself a great one.
You guys too. Hope it's good.
oh, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
And
All right.
I'll talk to you soon there, my friend.
Okay.
All right. Have a great
Thanks
day.
a lot.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Ducky. Hey, buddy. Thank you for being here.
You could miss it.
Well, that brings to a close our interview with the incredible Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah.
Tell me I can have fun with that.
What was that?
Well,
What Chelsea say?
oh, my friend just got the job that she had, and she was like, "Well, tell him to have good luck with that."
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
MC Healer, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's always good to be had.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
anyway,
And I wanted to ask him so much because, like, I wanted to unmute it and be like, "Okay, I got a question." And it was more of like a thing. Back when I was younger, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So Grand Theft Auto Vice City, that song was on there.
Yep.
And this is the God honest truth. I was tired of all the songs on there, and you can get rid of all the songs, right?
Yeah.
And you can just go to your custom radio. And I swear that was the only song on the entire thing that I would listen to whenever I'd get into a car. Is I run. And so me and my boy Nate would just, and like I wanted to say that so bad. I just wanted to be like, man, you know, that song when it was on Vice City, when I play that game, every single time I just listen to that song all the time.
That's awesome. Because if I remember right, the Grand Theft Auto soundtracks actually had quite a few good artists on them too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was legitimately one of actually it was the only song on the playlist that I had, so it would play on repeat the whole time. So when he was talking about how it was actually underplayed, I was like, yeah, I kind of agree with the underplay part.
Well, like I said before, buddy, you will have a chance. Like Mike
Awesome.
mentioned, probably one of the next times that they drop a release, we'll get him back in with us. So be watching for
That's
that.
awesome.
You know it. All right. Well, we'll be doing some tattoo work here pretty soon, won't we?
Yep, I got it all right here. So I got some up there. It's up there. Woo.
Cool, cool.
All right.
All right. Well, I will talk with you soon. And
Yep.
guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. On behalf of the crew here at the Groove Zone Network, I'm DJ D Phoenix, coming to you live from Tacoma, Washington. With me today has been MC Healer, Jesse Heal, my tattooist, my buddy, hanging with us. So that was cool. Also want to say thank you to DJ Duckie out of Seattle and Brad B out of Olympia, as well as Mike Score of A Flock of Seagulls. So don't forget, 7 p.m. tonight on Neo Retro FM at darfox07 wixsite.com/Neo Retro FM, a trauma-informed way. And then I'll be on with the sessions for your guys' evening rock and roll session immediately following at 7:15. So tune in. Don't forget, March Madness is still rolling tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. James Spectrum.
Be there, be square.
Exactly. And don't be square, be oval. Be there.
All
right.
I like squares.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Healer, I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Yep. Have a good one,
All
brother.
right. And that is all she wrote. Just like that.
Bam. I'm below.